Right, good afternoon everyone and welcome and peace. Basically I'm writing a piece which we were given a prompt in our writing group which just Wednesday passed, and the prompt was an actual picture. And I'll show it to you all. You can see there's 9 people there, but you only get to see their arms. Obviously it's different skin colour, and even the white people perhaps are different from one another in accordance to their own belief. But there are 9 folk around a campfire basically, and this is the prompt we got in the writing group. And because it was refugee week last week, I thought I would try and tackle that sensitive issue basically. But it's a good wee prompt. I like that because these people are the unlikely to come together to melt marshmallows over a fire. But all the same, they are there together. Anyway, this piece is called The 9 at the Campfire. There was a problem, and it needed to be tackled. It was not like the Great Summit with much hype, but these 9 were average, everyday people that decided to come together. 9 people from 9 different backgrounds to represent their colour, race and creed. It was a beautiful night. The stars pierced the fabric of blue dusk, where the sun refused to fully set, with many rich colours, as if there was a fire blazing in the sky. The colours were absorbed by the clouds like sponges, and the golden sun rays draped on the leaves. Summer nights like these have the air filled with the lingering scent of wild honeysuckle. The group of 9 folks gathered around in the open air with a fire crackling, spitting and whizzing. Smoke bellowed and blew into Hogg's eyes. He closed his eyes tight. It stings like fuck. Hoggs had a bandage around his hand, and Musa looked down at his hand and said, "What happened there?" Hoggs opened his eyes and gazed at Musa. "I lost it, and I started punching the bloody walls." Sienna tutted. "Well, as long that's all you were punching." Hoggs sighed. "What does that supposed to mean?" Jessica flicked her hair back and snapped, "Enough! Look, let's just get on with this." A bag of marshmallows was opened and passed around the group as they all stood in a tight circle around the fire. Each person took 1 marshmallow and placed it on the end of their wooden skewers. They all had decided to melt their marshmallows together over the fire at the same time, as a small ritual for mutual sweetness, that they came together with sweetness on their tongues as opposed to bitter hate. Sienna, with a slight smirk, said, "How are we going to do this?" Angela, who was an army officer, replied, "I think after 3. Ready, everyone?" The 9 folks proceeded to count. Their voices blended like a spoken choir, voices together that harmonized in the night air. 1, 2, 3. Swiftly, they all held their skewers over the fire and rotated them as the mallow went warm and gooey. Eventually, everyone had consumed their marshmallows, with Floral Roy chewing, very nice indeed." A light wind blew, and the leaves on the tree gently shuffled and jingled like tassels. Angela broke the silence and said, "What are we going to do? Freedom is not how it used to be." Floral Roy, who stood beside her, sharply replied, "You army folk have certainly taken away freedom." Felicity the witch, who wore a beautiful pink robe covered in stars, with twinkling in her eyes, quickly responded, "Remember those sweet tongues?" Theo, who was dressed in a pinstriped suit, scoffed, "Are you going to cast a spell to rid this community of these racist attacks?" Fu Wong shook his head and shouted, "Stop! We are just as bad!" The fire crackled in the humid night air, and a moment of quietness cloaked the group. They all thought hard, gazing into space, avoiding eye contact from each other. Everybody's eyes twinkled like stars as the firelight reflected from them. Musa caught eyes with Sienna and smiled at her. She smirked back. Musa then cleared his throat and abruptly said, "They pulled me and my family out from our house and onto the street, mocking us and telling us to go home." A midgie landed and tickled Jessica's arm. She scratched her arm and softly said, "I am sorry. I am from here, and I am ashamed. But I surely tell you that we are not all like that." Musa put his hand up to his face, looking down while holding back the tears. A moment passed. He swallowed hard, then took a deep breath. "This cannot keep flaring up." He sighed and continued, "We just want a chance in life too." Floral Roy said, "I hear you, brother." Angela rubbed her chin. "There is too many people in the world." Floral Roy replied, It's not that. People are making a difference due to colour. I was even walking my black Labrador a few weeks ago, and these kids laughed and said, "Your dog is a nigger, it's black." I mean, really. It would be annoying if everybody was blue-eyed and blonde hair. A mass of ethnic cleansing to suggest that a blue-eye blonde is the height of civilization. What if all the flowers were all the same colour? Everything uniformed with no character. Felicity softly said, "They say we are taking their jobs." Jessica shook her head. "That's rubbish. When you look at all the workers in the shops, on television, people have been saying that for years. Unfortunately, people have to accept the new ways of the modern world. We as neo-Roman white countries certainly seem to think we can move anywhere." Hogs laughed. "Yeah, it's the pot calling the kettle black." Fu Wong nodded. "Yeah, it is also due to modern transport that lends itself to the world mingling. The world has got smaller, and it is easier for people to travel further afield." The trees that stood and gathered around them cracked and rustled with an odd scurry of life, as if somebody was eavesdropping. Sienna touched Floral Roy's arm. "What was that?" Floral Roy smiled. "It is probably just a fox or something." Musa whispered, "Are we not too conspicuous standing here?" Theo scratched his stubby chin and shook his head. "I don't think so. Plus, we are not that loud." Felicity said, "Everybody is entitled to live. The new world has no room for that ancient war attitude of command and conquer." Fu Wong snapped back, "Oh yeah, but that's what they'll say. They are taking over our land." Floral Roy sneered. No way, that's paranoid." Jessica twiddles with her friendship bracelet and says, "Today is about live and let live. respecting and tolerating each other. The 9 all looked up into the night sky, gazing in wonder about everything. The moon was a crescent smile, as if gracefully agreeing with the 9 folks. The stars twinkled these sudden moments of shared stories, shared experiences, putting aside religion, ownership, land, and politics. The stars, like a flicker of an eyelid, a word of hope flapped upon the wind, sharing a moment with love is better than hating someone in a moment. Both can cause 2 very different ripple effects. Sienna laughed. Do not nuns wear head garments covering their heads? Or am I mistaken? As if the stars flickered sharp words, Hoggs replied, yes, of course they do. But racist people will always grasp at straws, only hearing what they want to hear. Sienna sighed. You know, we are all labelled as killers and rapists. Hoggs folded his arms. Yeah, well, I am white, and I was in prison for robbery, and I met many white people and heard about horrendous crimes from them. Theo pulled out a cigarette and lit it up with a lighter, and he spoke with a cigarette hanging from his mouth with a mumble. Flip, you know badness is in all walks of life. It is parcel of being part of the human condition. But to categorize one kind of human is ignorant. Why can't people see the bigger picture? Felicity then opens her bag. I know it's in here. She fumbles around within. It is here somewhere. Suddenly, here it is. She brings out a white sage bundle tied at either end. She lights it and smoke bellows into the air, and she flicks it around. Angela sniffs the air. That smoke is a nice smell. Felicity smiled. Yep, all natural herbs. Hopefully this will cleanse the air. A prayer of unity to whoever we look up to. The fire, the marshmallows, the incense was a triptych prayer that wings of peace may blanket over Belfast. Belfast had seen too much blood, too much hate in her history. The 9 and the 3, a tree growing branches in different directions, but still belonging to the tree of humanity, the tree of life. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and I really do hope the racial attacks does not happen again, and it's just ridiculous. But anyway, enough said. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope peace to you all, and yep, happy writing everyone and stuff. So thank you.